When did you find out that someone in your family is evil? I had an aunt. My mother's sister, Betty. She was mean as a snake. Not in physical way, but in a dominant, ear-ring, my way or the highway kind of manner. For some reason, she never liked me. I'm sure it was something stupid I said when I was 6 or 7, but it really was so obvious that even my immediate family would wonder what I had ever done to her. Then again, she loved to take swipes at everyone and everybody if they weren't living life or saying things in precise accordance with the way Betty thought it should be. Essentially, the self-appointed dowager of the family determined to dictate to everyone how they should live their lives. Betty was married to her poor husband. And no occasion with those two ever was complete without her giving him a tongue lashing for something trivial. When Bill died, there was no funeral, no nothing. Just took his ashes and dumped them in the sea. Anyway, Betty used to go on vacations by herself all over the world. We just took it for granted that her husband didn't want to go. Until, that is, her husband died. As it turns out, Betty had something like a 30-year affair with someone. A guy who was always a traveling companion. When my uncle died, this guy was over the moon. Because now Betty was newly single. Only he didn't realize that Betty had a different guy waiting in the wings. I won't go into all the things she did and said, but she had 2 kids. Her son was molested by a next-door neighbor when he was a kid. Betty knew about it and did nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But she sure liked to talk shit about her son. He's messed up to this day. And she continued with her son's children. Just would talk about what idiots they were. One grandson got so tired of it he literally married an Australian girl, moved there, and has never been back. Meanwhile, at my other cousin's 65th birthday party, Betty thought it would be nice to tell an adorable anecdote about how my cousin was a nice little rule follower. She proceeds to tell the story about how she absolutely forbade my cousin, when walking home from school, from crossing the street if there was no crossing guard. One day the crossing guard did not show up for work, so my cousin stood petrified at the curb for 2 solid hours until my aunt realized her daughter had not come home from school. While Betty thought she was telling a story about her daughter, in truth she was telling a story about herself. So yeah, no bank robberies, no torturing kittens or anything like that. Instead, a steady, relentless savaging of anyone near and dear to her in life. Not a reflective bone in her body either. Or else, at some point she might have thought of the damage she was doing.